On cue, my dogs start barking right when we get ready to do this.
That's how you know it's a live show. Every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, you guys have made your way to Astrology and Alchemy with Paranormal Sarah and Matthew Slozier. And he does have dogs, and I do have a dog. And so we are real people. We have not yet turned or sold our souls, so to speak. Knock on wood. How are we doing this week, man? Did we have some crazy predictions? If you join us every week and you joined us last week, you know what I'm talking about. Yesterday, the news headlines just had me freaking out. How are you doing with this new moon? It's a new moon today.
Which headline got you going?
So that the Justice Department is pressing charges against a nation state, which are Chinese Republic of China spies working with and or around the FBI in certain strategic ways. And that like formal charges were brought against them. And we said, quote, what kind of espionage, agendas? You need to watch the headlines about the agenda. And certain like spyware. We were mentioning like hacking, and there's some major crazy hacking things going on as well, which is kind of interesting. So just to see how that pans out for people, it's always really wild. So if you're joining us in the chat, let us know how yours panned out. What about you? Gosh, I love that shirt. Where did you get that shirt?
The Mothman Museum in West Virginia.
Gosh, dang it! It is so cool. It's like a comic.
Yes.
People are seeing Mothman right now in
I love my Mothman shirt.
The Illinois-Missouri border. They're seeing a lot of Mothman right now. What's up there, by the way? I'm even from Missouri, and I can't think of what's up there that they're seeing him around. I don't know, but he's there. The omen of catastrophe. Or just a time traveler that happens to like just watch things and has kind of a hellish sense of humor.
Oh, yeah. Steph I just saw that there was an earthquake in California today.
A big one.
Like a 5.1.
5.1. And Mauna Loa, if you go to Hawaii, or if you were thinking of going to Hawaii, you aren't going to be going to Mauna Loa because they've shut it down until further notice. And I think anytime that like a huge volcano that's been shut down until further notice and used to have, less than 100 a year and suddenly has 100 a day, like that, I don't know. It just makes me feel makes me feel like I need to be shaking a stick at some, Mayan party or something. You know what I mean? It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. These are the times. And that is Scorpio season, guys. That's today. We warned you last week. We told you it would be turbulent. We gave you the days, the wins, and the whys. And today is the new moon in Scorpio with an eclipse. Crazy, transformative. I always think of the ancestors. If you're into the paranormal, and I know a lot of our listeners are, especially those who tune into your Sunday Night Dead on Sunday, like, I think of all of our ancestors in the eclipse times being like, and this is the total assumption that they, I guess, maybe wouldn't have known what was going on, but they probably really did. But like, oh no, the sun is being broken apart and it's not there. They had an English accent. And they start chucking people off the mountaintop. They're like, someone's not happy up there. Give them the small one. Like they start drop kicking the kids. They do. They start plucking people off the mountain to suffice to the gods until the rain clears. Just something to think about.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
maybe that's why Mauna Loa is mad.
We need. I mean, I don't want to. I'm not a. I don't. What are you trying to do, Matt? Frame me here.
What?
Don't say a new Genesis joke like, well, let's start breaking out the. Watch what I say. I got to be careful what I say about anything anymore. It's just really wild. They'll shut me down. But you guys, we have a full week ahead for going into Halloween. And anytime you're looking at Halloween, the Day of the Dead, I always imagine there being a little chaotic energy. And sure enough, there are some movements to be considerate of. So, without further ado, for those of you joining us in the chat, Mary, Dolly, Steph, Field Guy, everybody, so cool to see you guys, by the way. Say hi if you're joining us in the chat. But let's just jump into it. Are you ready? Should we do it?
Let's do it.
Should we do it? Okay. I'm shaking my reishi drink.
My
It's a
favorite
reishi
week of the year.
Your favorite week of the year? The last week of October?
Mm-hmm.
It is a good week.
Peak of spooky season.
Here we go. Boom. First thing that's going to happen, and it's the only thing that's going to happen tomorrow. So those of you joining us, get your pens and papers out and write this down. The one dot you need to remember for tomorrow, for Wednesday, Carson, is that Mercury will be in Libra, and that is going to be trine Mars in Gemini. So when you hear that, Matt, what do you immediately start thinking?
So trine's synergy. So we have Mercury, thoughts and communication in a very diplomatic space, having synergy with Mars, which is kind of that male assertive energy in Gemini, which kind of social butterfly, very air communication oriented, but then it's also got the twin. So I always view it as which way do I go? Which way do I go?
There we go. Which way do I
go? So let's see here. I view this as it's funny. I'm actually like playing out what it's going to be because I'm going to say it's indecision is going to be the thing tomorrow. There's going to be people like bouncing which way and wanting to talk to others. That's the Mercury and Libra piece. They're going to want other people's opinions on which choice do they make. So I would look tomorrow's going to be one of those days where you're going to have friends or relatives call you and I've been thinking about doing such and such. What do you think?
Right. Messages, discussions, word play. And I would say plans, discussions. It's interesting. It's the Gemini, knowing that Mercury and Gemini play with each other. And anytime that Mars is shifting, this is kind of like what we were experiencing last Monday, which wasn't a terribly awesome day in the headlines. A lot of drama. Oh, yeah, well, yeah. And this is also when, like, our president, Biden, made a lot of really weird slip-ups. And, like, there's been a lot of Freudian slips and, like, weird moments. This is kind of an interesting thing. Think of that glitch, that double take. What does that mean? And I would even say in shadow work, like doppelganger. What is a doppelganger? What would you do? What would you do if you had someone that looked just like you, a twin, in fact? And it's kind of weird that I even say that because today a strange man pulled me aside in the Aldi's while I was grocery shopping and said, "Do you know who you look like?" And I said, "Well, I get a lot of different people. Who do you think I look like?" And he said, "Who am I going to say?" And I said, "I don't know. Maybe one of my family friends that I always get told I look like, but I doubt you would know who I'm talking about. She's a jazz singer." And he looked me dead in the face and he said, "Tina Marie." And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say." And it was a really weird moment.
That is weird.
That happened to me today at Aldi's. And nobody knows who Tina Marie is. Who the hell knows who Tina Marie is? But I get told that I look like her on occasion. And so we had that moment and I thought, and this is what I'm thinking of with Mercury and Libra and like, what does that mean? It's just like a weird, synchronistic, useful, like, what the heck, double take. How do I feel about that? I'm hearing things. I wonder if it's my dog farting behind me or there's something spooky happening because I'm hearing things too. But that's Mercury. But that's the only thing happening on Wednesday. So we can just say, okay, Wednesday, October 26th, the last Wednesday of the month, not a huge deal. Let's just be calm. Now, Let's write down Thursday. Thursday on our piece of paper. Okay, Sarah, is it the only thing? No, 2 things are going to be happening on Thursday. So write 2 dots down. And what do we feel for these predictions here? First thing that's going to happen on Thursday morning, the 27th. Oh, look at this. Oh, man. Oh,
Oh,
gosh.
another Mercury.
Yeah. Mercury and Libra squaring off Pluto and Capricorn. Man, anytime I see Pluto and Capricorn, I think that's a major thing.
So anytime it's Pluto, it's big. So this is look for big news stuff. So here we have the diplomatic communication, and square is kind of conflict or opposition, and Pluto is that big and personal change in the sign of Capricorn, which is all about accomplishment and the little goat climbing the mountains. And so I am seeing that the best efforts of trying to be measured and diplomatic in communication is going to go smack dab into some big, profound change that isn't going to give a crap about your nice diplomatic talk. So I'm going to say if, there's all these stirrings that something weird is going to go on in Ukraine. Do they bomb the dam? Do they do a dirty nuke? I think Thursday will be kind of that paradigm shift. Something big is going to happen. Could also be in Korea if you're paying attention. North Korea is doing some really wacky stuff too.
North Korea is doing weird
and
things.
Iran,
Taiwan.
yeah. There's stuff all over the place, but
yeah.
Canada, yeah.
California today passing some policies that if a doctor gives any information that's not otherwise approved to be given, they lose their license, no questions asked. Man, guys, it's getting weird out there on Thursday morning. Something's going to happen. What's it going to be? What do your feelers say?
I'm going Ukraine.
You're going Ukraine. You're shifting your cards. You're pulling your divination sticks here.
If I get any insight.
Carson, Heather, Dolly. Underground shit's going to go down, says Dolly. Man, if you're joining us on Odyssey Radio, you can hear all the bad stuff. You can hear all the perspectives. Rebel says, man, California's also tucking ahead on a split. Trucking ahead on a split. Man, that'd be weird. Yeah, there's civil war. Just all sorts of weird things. But that's not the only thing happening on Thursday. So one more thing is going to happen. Let's see what that is. Ruth, tell us what you think. Those of you all joining us in the chat from all different directions of the matrix. Thursday night, after this Pluto shift, this long-term life investment transformation thing that's happening post-eclipse, by the way, in Scorpio season. Oh, no. Is that the moon is gonna be waxing, building, growing in the fire sign of Sagittarius. How do you see
the moon
that?
stuff's kind of fleeting because it changes every couple days, but it's kind of interesting that possibly on the heels of some big, profound thing that gets done, kind of a game changer moment in the news tomorrow or Thursday, it'll get followed by this emotional. Sagittarius is like the explorer. So it's like, sure, why not? I'll try it. So this could be a bad combo of a big shift in some situation, or, it's going to be more than one. These are just the energies out there. So you have this big shift followed by people being more open to be a little more emotionally adventurous. And so you kind of have this sure, why not energy at the same time that
yeah, sure, why not?
Something big happens. So yeah, this could be
into the world. Want to go?
Yeah, if my prediction's right, then yeah, this would be a bad. Things could escalate given this dynamic. Then
right, this is not a great dynamic, and it's building towards the weekend, and it's building towards Halloween. Let's keep moving.
Which, by the way, I did pick a card just to see from what I saw, and the card of regret. So, don't have good vibes for Thursday.
Okay, and Mary Beth said, "Man, is someone talking in the background?"
Yes, Mary Beth. Yeah, it's my one daughter got home and she's having that
Oh,
conversation.
that's okay. I thought maybe she thought you were having a ghost experience.
I do have ghost experiences here, but they're
And I
usually
do.
more subtle than that.
Okay, only one thing is happening on Friday. Only one thing on Friday. Friday, October 28th. Knowing that we're having kind of this life transformative space, knowing that we don't feel so great about things on Thursday, let's go ahead and throw some cocaine and gasoline onto the fire. Friday is going to be a Friday, last Friday of the month, with Jupiter retrograde going into the sign of Pisces. So joining those water signs in Scorpio season. Ugh,
Nice.
right?
Nice.
Nice, he says. No,
So yeah, so
more water?
Jupiter's. I always go. It's like the car pulling up and saying, "Hop on in. We're gonna go do such and such." And because it's retrograde, I'll say that I view this as whatever that opportunity is going to be. It's going to go sideways. It's going to kind of not work out the way you expected it to. And Pisces is that introspective, kind of sacrificial type energy. It's the last sign of the cycle, so I just view it as kind of like deathbed perspective. So this is interesting in that, and I know you always go with like the kind of addiction spaces with the Pisces stuff too. So I almost think this, if I'm going to build the theme for the week, the bad crap happens on Thursday, and now it's like, oh shit, we're all gonna die. So let's just
cocaine and hookers.
Go do some coke or go hook up or do something.
Commonly seen. This is when you connect with yourself, that intuition, imagination, and there's like this, you know what I'm doing doesn't matter. What we're doing doesn't matter. We're just on a rock, man. We're just spinning in space, man. We're only here for like a blip, man. So let go, man. This is a real big push and pull with desire and control, I fear. And so when you think of desire and control in your lives, this is going to be very, very relevant on Friday. And so in a predictive, divinating space, knowing that this is the only thing happening on Friday, Carson in the chat says, party!
I don't know if you saw Katie's thing. She's got blue flashing lights in the sky and we're everywhere. The aliens might be landing in Katie's.
What? Katie, take a picture immediately and send it to me on Messenger. I gotta see it. Be safe, of course. Be safe. Man. Tell him when you get up there that you know a girl in northern Minnesota and she can, I don't know what I could help him with, but I want to be on the good side, man. I want to be on the good side. Hi, Jason. What card are you going to get for Friday? Maybe I should get my deck out. I've got my Deviant Moon deck. Oh, for that reading special that we are still doing. We're
Empress,
still doing it, right, Matt?
Nurturing. So I will see this as, I'm going to interpret this then as comfort. People are going to seek comfort, but what are they going to seek comfort doing? Interesting.
Yeah, Empress, and then Page of Cups, like this kind of feeling, wanting to know more and learning more and knowing enough, but maybe not all the things about feeling and relationships and intuition. Katie, be safe. For those of you guys joining us, man, for this going into the weekend, Ruth, Dolly, for those of you guys, yeah, this is going to be kind of powerful. Desire, control, emotion, intuition, Pisces. I always usually do see an addiction move. Just motivations, just kind of be aware of motivations and drive. That's really, really, really important. So let's use this to go into Saturday. Let's go into this last Halloween weekend. It's going to be so much fun. 2 things are happening. Okay, I cheat, so I kind of look ahead just a little bit. Oh, this should be fun. Okay. So if you've been waiting on that person to reach out and talk to you maybe, or that email to come to you, or to get a sign, come and knock on my door. Then on Saturday, October 29th, Mercury moves into Scorpio. How do you feel about that, Matt?
So communication is going to move from diplomatic and being balanced and, trying not to upset things too much to now Scorpio is deep. Scorpio is intense. a lot of emotional energy, but it's all behind the scenes. I always go with this, picture of a river where you have the water flowing, but you don't know what the currents are doing underneath it. Scorpio never really shows their cards. What you see isn't what you're getting. So you might get communications, but it's not going to be straightforward. I think of agendas, but I don't. I keep going back to last year where I got accused of bashing the Scorpios, which I didn't think I was. I don't mean that in a bad way, but so let me not say agenda. Let me say intentional. There's intent in the communications, but the intent may not be obvious.
Well, and I think that this too goes from a place of a lot of retrograde where people have been isolating, they've been moving in their own space, they've been pulling back, they've been reclusing. The hermit has been pulled a lot of life change, a lot of ego checking, and people not being where they want to be. We're in a depression, so that's very relevant. And so then all of a sudden you have this movement in Mercury where people are going to pop their head out and go, so what have you been up to? I don't know. What have you been up to? Oh, yeah. Well, I've been up to this. And as Steph shared in the chat room, that Scorpio, I kind of often am thinking of secrets. You don't know if it's the butt end or the back end that's going to get you. So this intense, fearless, quiet, moving, saves the day but kills you in the night Scorpion is going to go roses are red, violets are blue. Look at him, and it's like, what did you say? And this it's gonna be in water,
so I wouldn't read too much. This is bad because there's always going to be some things that are just coincidence, but if you hear from somebody that you haven't heard from in a while, is this Friday now or Saturday? We're Saturday, right?
Saturday morning.
On Saturday, just think about that. There could be more intent in that communication.
Man, I get so nervous about that though, because think about that energy of all of the internal energy in Scorpio that if you tip it into thinking, I know so many people are going to feel heavy and they're going to immediately just talk. They're going to immediately respond and react. If you think about it too long, you could also overfeel it. Be very careful. This is going to be, it's going to be cryptic. My precious.
I always don't. I give this advice a lot, but don't act on it. Just be aware, take notice, and then see what happens.
Be aware. So apparently, if I were a cat, I would be a Siamese. Hello, Chad. Hello, Steph. Mary, welcome. All of you guys joining us from all corners of the world and parts of the Matrix. It's very cool to have you joining us, time travelers and people. We are on Saturday morning. We are watching some of these energies move. This is going to be stuff into Scorpio, Mercury into Scorpio. These are vibes that are going to be, oh yeah, very interesting. And I know you're not big for the moon movements, but especially for women struggling with their menstrual cycles or anything of that nature, the moon is somewhat relevant to our farmers too, maybe a little bit. If you're still out there, farmers, are you out there? The moon will be waxing into Capricorn. What do you like about Capricorn?
Well, it's my sun sign, so I guess I'm a little biased. So it's checking off boxes, getting things done. It's interesting because we're talking about Scorpio. I would consider these two signs to be the most intense out of the 12 in different ways. I feel Scorpio will be more its intensity, but it might be more subtle, and you don't necessarily see it. Where I think Capricorns are pretty flat and open about what they're intense about, and kind of don't give a crap. So here it's interesting because you have this all this intensity we're talking about, and now emotional will get into wanting to get something done, check boxes, accomplish something. So it's interesting. You sync this with what we just said earlier about that kind of shift in communication to intentional, intense, but not straightforward. And now this emotional and wanting to move something and accomplish something. And I'm even more curious what people are going to experience on Saturday in terms of hearing from other people. And you froze, unless it's my computer.
Hopefully not. Hopefully I'm just in deep meditation and it powerfully erupted upon the screen. Am I still frozen or am I working?
We can hear you, but you were
Really?
frozen. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, good. I was in deep meditation, so I just contacted spirit there and broke the computer system. Perfect timing. Thank you, universe, for that show. But really, I was closing my eyes and listening to you there and thinking, what is happening here? And I got sign on the dotted line. Book it, write it, sign it on the dotted line. Almost like that could be a country song or a Shel Silverstein poem. Like I felt like I was maybe quoting something. Book it, write it, sign it on the dotted line. And I was trying to connect with where is that coming from? What is that in reference to?
I'm laughing because my brain, when you said all that, went into a totally different
Where
direction.
does
So
it
it might
go?
be the time of year, but my advice will be don't sell your soul on Saturday. And I don't mean that. I don't mean that literally, but look at what gets put on the table and don't sell out your principles and your standards for somebody else's intense
Don't go
proposal.
down the Illuminati wormhole, guys, and do like Doja Cat and shave your head and go through the initiation and sell your soul. People are really on Doja, poor thing.
I'm in. I guess I'm in Halloween mode. So that's where I went right on.
Well, I keep seeing Carrie. I keep seeing a lot of her lately, actually, in that just the bullying. Be very careful as things turn over. Those investments kind of show themselves. That face rears its ugly head, and long-term things really pan out. I really feel like we're going to really start seeing some of these things that are happening in short term, long term, big term, proximity start to pan out. Okay, where am I going? What direction? Okay, now I see. So
Total
Sunday.
sidebar, really quick, and I know I said this once before, and it's a shame that he's gone. He was one of my favorites in the artist space, but if there was ever a movie that somebody would play Satan, I still think Chris Cornell would have made the ultimate.
Oh,
he would have been like the best dude at the crossroads, kind of.
I like the Constantine, the guy who plays him in Constantine. Boys will be boys. I forget who it is, but he does such a good job, and I really love it. Yeah, I miss Chris Cornell. I actually cried. That was one of those people that I like cried when that happened. Okay, so what do we say about this prediction for the weekend? One thing is happening on Sunday, October 30th. It's the end of the weekend.
It is.
Mars.
Think about this now. I'm going to date myself here. It is my 29th anniversary.
Oh, is it really?
Yep.
Oh, happy anniversary. Wow, 29. That's crazy. And
I got married young.
Exactly. He's a vampire, folks. He's a vampire. But Mars retrograde begins in Gemini on Sunday. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, Mars is it's weird. Mars changes. Usually I think it's like every 2 months. Mars is going to be in like Gemini for like a year because of this retrograde movement. It's like crazy how long we're going to have this male kind of assertive energy in this extroverted social butterfly space, trying to decide which path to take. So the fact that it's retrograde, I always interpret retrograde as, if you think about Mercury communication, and when Mercury's in retrograde, all the communication gets jacked up and messed up. So in this case, Mars is action, activity. I feel like whatever those actions are going to be, they're not going to work out. So I feel there's going to be a lot of outward energy, outward work, a lot of communication. But the things that are going to be trying to be initiated from these communications are going to not work out. So the best laid plans go awry starting Sunday.
Right.
This is bad on the follow up. If we have this huge,
well, everyone's been in transformation.
Our world is blown up on, not literally, but I mean, we get freaked out by something big on Thursday and Friday, and then we have all this, emotional communicating, intentional but intense communication and emotionally wanting to accomplish something. And now as this moves into movement on Sunday, these actions aren't going to work out the way you intend. So I feel it's almost like putting gasoline on a fire.
It is. It is. And the unpredictability. That, I think, unpredictability, you can use that to make breakthroughs, but they're going to be breakthroughs that it's going to be hard to take credit for or feel accomplished because you didn't plan it. And it was, whose idea was it? Well, it was my idea. Well, I think it was their idea. I don't know whose idea it was. I don't know. And it's one of those like, man, this Gemini thinking, you're going to have to be patient. This is achieving, deep inner stuff because it's going to be kind of confusing, I think.
Lots of this week, lots of air and water and lots of retrograde. So,
Funnel clouds.
Ideas, communication, emotion, all getting like misinterpreted. So yeah, this is one of these so that's the other advice I'll give. Verify. Don't make assumptions. If you think you heard something, it's like when you have like the little kid and you have them repeat back to you what did I just say? Kind of just verify, because I think there's a lot of misunderstanding vibes and energy this week.
I don't know. I feel like, you know what I think fits here is if you're going to talk to anybody, don't talk to a person. Talk to your dog. Talk to nature. Talk to your horse. I think that this is when naturalists or more indigenous spiritual movements might have ritualized going out into nature. Sparta, going out and sending your children and say, well, I guess I'll see you in spring if you make it. And if you don't, then you don't. Like your own little eugenics program. I feel like this is that Mars retrograde in Gemini. Go out and talk with nature and see what nature teaches you. Go out and find yourself and see what you find in yourself when your own intrusive thoughts find you in the night and you're not sure what the noises are because you're paranoid. Oh, apparently I said that and Matt just was like, that's too much, Sarah. And it kicked him right off. That's okay. He'll join back in. But see, and usually it's me. Usually it's me, Matt.
Speaking of retrograde and things getting jacked, I go ahead and I enter that comment about the signs don't go retrograde, the planets do, and all of a sudden my whole computer shut off there for a second.
You can't say such things. And yeah, and that's kind of I think that's going to be a big thing. Be careful who you're talking to and also what you're saying to yourself. Do you know what I mean? That's going to be pretty powerful. And I don't know how we've done it because it seems like sometimes we barely can fit it all in our 50 minutes. And then sometimes we're like left with 15 minutes to talk and yak and do frequently asked questions. But this last week of October kind of ends powerfully, but simply. So Monday, only one thing is happening. And then we'll talk Tuesday. But let's kind of focus on Halloween. It's Halloween. It'll be Monday, October 31st. Very special day in my family. And something kind of small. I say small. You'll say small. It's not a huge deal. But, it's something.
It's not that it's small. It's that they change every 2 days. So it's a very fleeting thing. It's not like some of the outer planets that are there for years and years. And like this, it passes. It's a quick thing. So Aquarius is rebellious, outside the box, the curveball. So you're going emotionally from that accomplishment, wanting to check things off my to-do list or my bucket list, to now moving towards what am I going to do that's different? What am I going to do that's unique? What am I going to do that maybe goes against what the crowd is doing? So I like to say it's innovative.
Ooh.
So yeah, there's some innovation.
So I'm
going to go ahead and say, it might be a last minute decision on some, but you're probably going to see some pretty cool Halloween costumes on Monday.
Cool improv costumes. And when I think about that, I'm always, trying to think of the shadow work. For the Aquarius on Halloween and on a Monday, but also it's the start of a week, but the finish of a month. Age of Aquarius. You know, Aquarius, even though it's got the word aqua in it, I know that fucks people up, but it's actually an air sign, right? And it's the say it, don't spray it. I want the news, not the weather. So Aquarius, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater and spit all that nonsense. Like, calm down, emotional crazy person. Any Aquarius
Aquarius is
in the
the
house?
where Libra is like diplomatic. I'd say like out of the 3 air signs, Aquarius is the least diplomatic. It's the one that will, if you're gonna get like a communication that's gonna like tick you off, it's most likely gonna be in the Aquarius space, not the Gemini or Libra space. Libra, that you might get ticked off like a day later when you realize you were manipulated. But
Hey, I can't believe you said that.
but Aquarius is they'll just call it out and do their own thing.
And then Steph said, "What sign is retrograde there?"
No, Mary Beth asked if Scorpio can go retrograde, and so that was my thing about the signs don't go retrograde, that planets do.
Right, and the signs are just those kind of spaces of the constellations in the sky, right? The constellation spaces, and the planets are just going around and around and around and moving through those constellations. So it's kind of beautiful. I've seen a lot of people do like an astrological spread, and just move stones or move things that they have that represent those planets on a grid. And that's a really great way to keep track of the movements and watch things, because then you see the patterns, and many people find astrology to be more visual. Yeah. And yeah, Halloween. What do you predict for this last week? Do you think anything big's going to happen?
Mm-hmm. I think something very big is going to happen Thursday or Friday.
What is it going to be?
I said my gut was that it was going to be something in Ukraine, but could be a big natural disaster too. But I don't think it's one of the ones that we've talked about. But I'm still going with somebody's going to do something stupid, whether it's Korea or Putin. But something's going to go. There's going to be something. My gut's on that dam, that they're going to blow that dam up. But we'll see. Which would be water. Kind of be consistent with things too.
Well, when you say water, what about the big pipelines and the big things in the oceans and these kinds of things that we're trying to say, hey,
they've been telegraphing it. Well, they're telegraphing it that they're saying the other people are going to do it, but that they were going to blow this hydroelectric dam, which would further complicate the energy situation there, but it would create a massive flood that right now where they're getting driven back from, it would help flood and make it harder for Ukraine to chase them any further.
That sounds fun.
So.
Yeah, man, I don't even want to. It's like weird. My intuition just totally tunes out when I start thinking about politics, because it gets so crazy and heavy and so busy in my brain. It's almost overwhelming. But that's what this space is for. Pull a card, have a moment, scribble it down. What are your predictions for this space? How is October going to end? How do you see it panning out? We made our predictions in the beginning of this year for November, so you guys have an idea of what we think it's going to start around. But then November, wake me up. That's another song. November. That's going to be Tuesday, Taco Tuesday, November 1st. Only one thing is happening, and it's kind of a subtle, simple little move. So we're going to have quite a bit of time left to discuss and maybe take questions from the audience tonight, which is really fun. We yapped through it pretty quickly. And that is a first quarter moon in Aquarius. So again, it's just a little moon movement, but it's another moon movement. Boom, boom, boom. It's almost like,
yep.
Right?
So we're in the Scorpio cycle. So this is, I feel like this is, again, intensity. So I feel there's just like a lot of intent. And so the first quarter, this is kind of like the path towards what you're moving on. And so this is just you have your goal, you have whatever. You don't want everybody to know it's your goal, so consider kind of like this hidden objective. And I'd say Aquarius is kind of, what do I need to change? Think outside the box, do something different in order to move along that path.
I had written down mantra magic. Knowing that this is a space where air magic is going to be key. That is understanding coercion, understanding manipulation, swaying, influence, leadership. But mantra magic, go down to the river. I think of all the different, I was watching Oh Brother, We're Out There last night.
I love that
Down
movie.
to the river to pray, studying about that good old way. It's almost like a gospel vibe. That mantra space of what are you saying to yourself and others? What are you repeating? What are the subtle tones? What is the soundtrack of the realm behind you? And just being aware of what that is, because I feel like it could be a really scary moment, but man, you play the Oompa Loompa music behind it and it's not so bad. It's like watching the Darth Vader with the Barry White music, it's not the same. It's not scary.
For the whole week, this just hit me. I don't know how many people watch this or not. I don't watch anymore, but I used to. Survivor, before they would have a council, tribal council, and all these people are like screening off in little like groups and talking, but you don't know what's real and what's bullshit and what's going on. Like, I feel that's like the vibe for the week. There's going to be something that's going to kind of rattle everybody in the beginning, probably around Thursday. And then after that, there's going to be all this scurrying around, but you don't know who's really telling the truth and who's just selling you a load of crap.
Yeah. And it is air. It is message. It's not the content, because it's not earth signs. It's not so much even, there is some feeling because of the Pisces, but that's not the direct source of it, right? The majority of this is what you are going to be hearing. Here, extra, extra. What? What did you just say? Like, it's going to be something that is said or heard or whispered or read in a headline. This is going to be relevant in that way that it is air magic. So use that however you want. Now, you guys, tonight is this new moon solar eclipse in Scorpio space. So I think it's kind of perfect maybe that we have maybe 15 minutes here for those of you joining us. If you have questions, Matt and I, we do our reading specials together. You can also get private readings with each of us. But if you would like to pull a card for the new moon, or if you have a question about astrology for either one of us, what are you doing for the solar eclipse? How are you using this energy for transformation, guys? And how do you feel about the collapsing? Last week we had mentioned today collapsing would be an Iran ? Too loud ? And what's really crazy, if you go on look at YouTube, the headlines are like, is everything collapsing? Fox News, CNN, like, is this the collapse of the world? Like, that is the word. It's so weird. So cool. Not cool that it's collapsing, but cool that we talked about it last week. So anyway, if you guys are joining us in the chat room, if you're listening live from either YouTube or Odyssey, we do ask that you guys definitely download Odyssey Radio. There may or may not be some changes. YouTube is going through some wild changes, guys, and it really is going to be important for us in the continuation of channels to probably really kind of focus you guys into a space that we can be uncensored and honest and authentic. So do check us out on Odyssey. You can download it for free. But Mary, Rebel, if any of you guys have questions, let us know. Matt, what are you doing for I know you said you're not a huge eclipse person, but are you doing any new moon magic for yourself tonight?
No, I wasn't. No, sorry. I know. That's just not my thing. I'm sorry.
He was so honest right away. No.
I'm going on a trip. I'm packing. That's what I've been doing today.
Going on a trip. He's going on a trip.
Going back to Florida.
Going back to Florida. Man, would I love to be in somewhere warm and We are prepping for winter here in northern Minnesota, and I just every time I walk past the window, I'm like, "Is that snow?" And everyone's like, "No, I think you're seeing things." I'm like, "Is that snow?" I'm just because I'm so nervous about it already. It's just kind of nervous. But and Mary says, "You know what? This new moon has got me wiped out. I'm already in bed." And that has been totally health and travel Thursday through Sunday. What are some thoughts maybe this week ahead? What are the best days for health? What are the best days for money? That's a good question. So, what signs or planets do you think of when you're thinking of health?
Health, I
Matt.
usually think of, it's been a while since I did this. I gotta rack my brain here. Health, I think of sixth house, and sixth house is Virgo.
Oh, okay.
So, and
And
then you
right
think, yeah, that
now,
makes sense then. I's dotted, T's crossed, analytical. So Virgo is what I think for health. Money is
okay.
Venus, so tends to be, but financial tends to be second house. So that would be Taurus.
Well, and right now, guys, Venus is in Libra. Venus has moved this week. So money was probably, really good throughout this past week. It's not going to be much better the last week of October. I don't see that moving. So unfortunately. And then with health, there's not a lot of anything in the sign of Virgo right now. I would say that the best day for the last week here in October to maybe celebrate health, man, not Pluto and Capricorn, not Mercury and Scorpio, not any of those. Maybe the best day for the celebration aside from today, Friday, maybe when we said Jupiter is retrograde in Pisces.
I was gonna say I wouldn't do it. I'd
You
avoid
said do none
retrograde
of it.
days if I could.
Right.
Nothing goes
Right.
right.
Right. Dang. Yeah. And Mary says, man, there's drought everywhere. Be careful. And that's true. And think about how Mother Nature, she really does mimic the stars, and she mimics those of parasites like us that live off of her and with her. This drought right now, the movements of water, the emotions, the crazy chaos, and the spilling. When something's really dry and you go and you put stain on it or you go to clean something up and there's saturation or no saturation, moisturizer or no moisturizer, it really changes, absorption and texture. It can be a huge mess, or like suddenly you're like, where'd my water go? Like I needed that to live and now it's just gone. And being aware of like, how long your concrete's been sitting there. It really, really it really matters. What'd you mix that with? And did you start stirring? Oh my God, you did? Okay, well, we got to do it now because that's a 30-second, kind of a thing. What? Yes. I feel like that's going to be a lot of the vibe here in this last week of Halloween, in this last week of October. A lot of like emotional mud that's drying. It's like the scene in the Neverending Story, the swamp of despair, and the like, Artax, no, I can't Artax, and he's a horse, and he's hearing you, but he's not hearing you, and he's already thought about it, and he's already done Artax, and he does. And then you're sitting there and like, man, you can't cry about your horse dying because then you're going to start sinking too. So like, what do? You just got to keep moving. You just got to keep moving and not care, like that turtle. That's how it lived there for so long. So we're going to see how it all pans out. What do you think? Are you got a card for
I
the
was going to
week?
hold something up as to use as an example what I used before, and this is what with people that are going on. If you look at this guy, he's sad looking at all the spilled cups, but he's not seeing to the right the lady with the new cups, and so it's kind of this
Hello, sir.
don't be sad about what's present or in the past. You have to look ahead and go forward, and so that's. I saw a lot of things in chat and a lot of things about not gloom and doom, but kind of just upset about everything that's going on. And so I think you gotta look forward and plow ahead and not spend
And
too
look
much
up.
time crying over spilled wine.
Right. And
Yes,
look
that's fun.
up.
Yep.
Look up from that moment because it really is. There's somebody and there's an opportunity coming or here right now in the Brem and the peripheral. The word peripheral, I think, is a really important word. The neurolinguistic word, guys, if you are advanced witches like Matt and I don't know if Matt, do you call yourself a witch? I don't think you do. Maybe you don't. I do. I call you a witch.
I probably fit that category, but I
say
I
master
experiment with energy. So however you want to,
an energy worker,
in
a
the alchemy
Tesla.
space. So however you want to do that.
Alchemist.
But
Any of those magical
I do witchy type things. So
witchy things. This is a great week for those of us doing witchy things and alchemy and advanced occult work. Except, what is it that you accept, especially knowing the air magic, being able to say, you know what? No, that's a lie. Absolutely not. You know what? No. You know what? When someone gave me an example earlier today of, if you can imagine walking up to an employee of yours and you only have so much time and energy and you need to know if a job has been completed or not. You say, hey, has this job been done or not? And they go, you see what happened, what? And that person's already walking away. They're not there to listen to the story. It's a yes or a no.
mm-hmm.
Period. And things are moving. And it's like, log running. Like there's no time to feel much about it in the swamps of despair. You got to just keep, and you got to know, and you got to be efficient. And that Capricorn vibe there at the end is so important to that, because it is. It's like, dang.
Yeah. Honestly, there's always opportunity. That's the biggest thing, is to see whatever ends up happening. There's always going to be opportunities in what events transpire, and so identify the opportunity and turn it to your advantage the best you can.
I like that. Now, I know that you guys had asked, especially those in the Instagram feed and on the YouTube channel, if you want to get a hold of Matthew and I, if you want a reading, whether it be a private reading with just one of us or that reading special with the both of us, guys, for $100, you get the both of us doing your entire birth chart.
It's like your personal. It's like your personal show.
Except
we don't broadcast it, but
right.
It'll just be the three of us.
We don't roast you. Of course, we could do that if you want to pay extra or roast you. We could, man, that would be fun. Do you think people would pay to be roasted? You can pay me. I'll roast you.
Somebody probably, yeah. There are probably people out there that would go for that.
Kinks or something. Anyway, that's a whole nother show. You guys, if you want to get a birth chart reading, if you want to get all that information and get Matthew, the master astrologer, very objective, very statistical, very analytical, very practical ability to just tell you how to do it. And then me over here telling you crazy, wild, weird, wacky bullshit. Wow, wibble, wagga, wazzy, woodle, woo stuff, so that you can maybe get some psychic intuition stuff along with it. But let us know. We know that Halloween is especially those of us in the paranormal in this realm. Usually those of us in the Halloween time are broke because we spend all our money at Joann's buying all the shit off of the clearance rack. I know how that goes. Or our cars are broken down because it's Scorpio season. Don't say it too loud. Dang. Anyway, I am going to put it here in the chat room. Matthew, where can they find you? And
someone asked for a card, so I'll just say I got 10 of Wands, which I consider kind of the card of burden. In the traditional deck, it's the guy with all the wands. He's carrying them on his back. So, don't know what your question was, someone, but I feel that there's something that's burdening you.
Yeah, delegate some of that. You're doing too much.
Yeah, look to lighten your load, man. All right, sorry. Go ahead.
No, don't be sorry. I'm over here trying to put these links in for those of you who just want to contact us, because I would love to pull a card for every single one of you guys.
We always talk about how we're going to get on more and just do like random nights where we pull cards, and it's just been, these last 2 months have been really crazy for me.
And me too. They've just kind of been crazy.
Actually, the last 5, because I had the summer of health issues, and then I had the fall of travel. So
travel. Well, and I'm still waiting for a kidney. Anybody out there want to give me one? Don't forget, my dad needs ones to live. So, if you're just walking around with 2 and you don't need that extra one, hey, I'll take it. Because my dad would like to live. I want him to teach my boys how to gut a deer, to go hunting, stuff like that. So if you know someone with a kidney, let me know. And then for you guys, someone had said my necklace. Gosh, you guys, I've got so many really cool things for sale on those links. mslosier@yahoo.com, paranormalsarah.com, or just find us directly where you're tuning in now, Odyssey Radio or YouTube or Facebook or wherever, and get a darn reading. Contact us, man. Let us know. And at the very least, join us next Tuesday, right? 9 p.m. Central.
Mary Beth
With you,
asked
right?
if I'm feeling better. Yes, I am slowly getting better. I've gained weight back, which I should be happy about because it means I'm healthier, but I don't like ever gaining weight. So
I think that's
I'm probably more healthy now, but yeah.
no. And I think he looks better with those glasses and the Mothman shirt too. That Mothman shirt, man, I just love it. Okay, guys, that's it for October. Be sure and join us next Tuesday. Join us here on Odyssey Radio, on the Paranormal Channel, on wherever you're joining us. But here for Astrology and Alchemy with Sarah and Matt.
And have a great Halloween, everyone. Talk to y'all soon.
Yeah.
Oh, now I get to our video. I'm slow here. Sorry, guys.
No.
All right. See ya.